Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Ginette Biro here. I'm a medium and a channeler, and welcome to the podcast. So those of you that are joining me for the first time, thank you so much. Thanks for checking out the show. This podcast is really about everything to do with spirit. So whether it's a spiritual message of guidance or an explanation about a concept, spirit messages specifically, which is the topic for today. This is just a place to share things, ideas, ways to expand our consciousness, ways to expand our mind. And I'm really happy to have you here. So again, to all of you guys watching and or listening, thank you always so much for joining me. I love bringing through these messages. Like I said, I'm a medium and a channeler, meaning that I connect with spirit. I communicate with them. I've been doing this for professionally over a decade and a half, but I have been connecting with spirit ever since the age of 5 is one of the earliest memories I can recall. And it's just such a joy to be present now in a time on the planet where we can talk about these things freely. We can express, we can open our consciousness. This is becoming a more normal way of being, which is really a return to our innate ability to experience the world beyond the 5 senses. So I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy you're here. So thank you so much, so much. So today is the February energy update. There's a lot of things that the guides want to share. Now, this is coming from the 3 guides of the light. So these are different understandings, insights for this month. So I'm just going to dive right in because, like I said, there are many points. There's several points. So the first thing I want to talk about this month is if we look back in January, on January 12th, we had Mars, the planet Mars, go direct. Now, the planet Mars is the planet of action, energy, momentum. It can also be considered the planet of war and strife. So again, depending on your perspective and how that plays into your chart, but also your energetics, there was a lot of energy being held stagnant. So Mars was retrograde from October 30th until January 12th. So that meant certain things you were trying to put in motion were being kind of stalled. That also means that we had the opportunity to review and reflect on the action potentials we wanted to take. And so many of you may have felt really triggered by the energies from end of October through November and December, triggered with old stories, old traumas from events that were significant, right? Mars type events, things that you thought that you dealt with, but they were coming up again for review. As well, plans that you had for the future that you thought you'd already put out, your intentions, your manifestations, and they came up again for review. Now remember, in the January update, Spirit said, we are going to ask you repeatedly through this month or through this year what you want. And you may feel like it's annoying having to restate it, but what we're doing is we're helping you be more specific and redirect to what is more in alignment with you as you move and grow and evolve. So, this energy from Mars going direct January 12th, it really needed kind of like 2 weeks to speed up. So there's like a post-retrograde shadow. And so Mars, although moving forward January 12th, still needed time to kind of like pick up its speed again. And so February is where we really feel that moving forward. So February is going to be a month of momentum. And that's a great thing. And I love this. We're going to have momentum and clarity take hold in February is what they said. Now, another piece that feeds into that momentum and clarity is on January 18th, we had Mercury go direct. Now, Mercury is all about the mind, communication, technology. So when Mercury is in retrograde, we can often have a lot of things, again, come up in the mind, whirling thoughts coming up in the mind, things that just kind of wreak havoc. That also, like I said, happens to communication. So computers, internet service, all of that. Mercury moving direct allows us more clarity. So it's almost like if we took all of our thoughts, put them on paper and spread them out onto a boardroom table, Mercury going direct is kind of like that. We have things reassessed with space to see, to organize, and all of this really helping that momentum forward. So having Mars go direct, Mercury go direct within several days of each other is a beautiful push of momentum, both needing that time to pick up the pace. But Mars is really the big one. Now, somebody asked me a while back, they said, if you're a medium and a channeler, why do you waste your time talking about astrology? You're not an astrologer. Well, a simple question, it's a beautiful question, first of all, but the answer would be, why wouldn't I? And I say that lovingly too. Why wouldn't I take in awareness of all the influencing factors, both internally and externally to me, so that I can better interpret my feelings, my understandings, and my choices moving forward for all of us? And astrology has a big impact and a big influence on the energetics at play. So Spirit often says to mention where the stars are, the moons, as if there's many, the moon, where they are, what's going on, because they have a direct effect on our energetics, on our mind here. So they do play a really important part, which is why I do like to bring it up. But that is a great question. So this momentum, movement forward, this clarity is a beautiful thing, because to my next point is it takes the pressure off. So February, for many people, you may find the pressure is off. The pressure you felt maybe in the fall, Christmas, beginning of January, to understand where you're going, what you're doing, the pressure is off. And now again, that clarity has more space. We have more ability to bring in the light energy. And like I said before in the January update, the light is wanting to work in favor of those that can have the perspectives of such. And a quick example of that is you could have something challenging happen to you and only see it from the perspective of that challenge and how crappy it is, how burdensome it is. However, for the light to work in your favor, the light, meaning Spirit, could give you a perspective of understanding, say, the purpose behind this event or this thing, or what you're learning from it, or maybe there's a karmic cycle involved. That perspective then changes your experience in it to a certain degree, which allows you to hold your frequency higher. So there's a beautiful thing in that, because as we move into this energy of February, where we have a bit more clarity in career, family, soul path, relationships, we can make more use of the momentum that we're in. So this is a great thing. Now, this also ties into an amplified energy of love. And when they first said this, I kind of laughed. I'm like, you guys, is that because it's Valentine's Day? Like, we have Valentine's Day this month. Is that where you're getting this? And they said, that's one part, because as much as some people like to kind of have a hate on for Valentine's Day, there is also a magnetic thing that happens with Valentine's Day, because there are many people on that day, during that time, that celebrate the energetics of love. Now, yes, it has become very commercial, absolutely, but there's still an intent behind celebrating union, partnership, and love. And even those that find Valentine's Day as their opportunity to celebrate self-love, that same thing is setting the intent. And so what it does is it creates this beautiful collective energy of love energy in 3D. And so this is really interesting, because as I asked them more, they then came into the explanation that this month specifically, in this year, we're having an amplification of love energy in the form of unions and partnership. And I was like, okay, tell me more. So for a lot of people, there has been an energy of divine timing at play between kindred souls. So divine timing is, I'm really being shown like the Temperance card in tarot, where you're waiting for the right time. Everything has to be in a certain place to allow this to happen. And we have a role in that, but we don't have control over all of it. Some of it is universal timing. And so they're saying February really kicks off the energy of divine soul unions that we were talking about that would be pertinent this year. And so if we take this energy of Valentine's Day and kind of amplify our manifestations for that, whether it is you're looking for romantic soul unions within your family, your soul family, maybe business partnerships that are like divinely guided. Again, this energy helps create a manifestation of it. So using the energy of February as the kickoff for that, but also the amplified energy on Valentine's Day to set your manifestations for whatever partnerships you're wanting is really worthwhile. So it's almost like the same way we would celebrate, or we would use the energy of the moon to manifest something, say on a new moon. If we use the energy of Valentine's Day, do a little bit of journaling, manifesting what it is we want in unions, and maybe it's even a deepening of your own union with your partner. Whatever it may be, it's a worthwhile time. So they're saying within those kindred soul connections, you will start to notice how there are changes in your relationships. Maybe for some of you, certain relationships have ended, which makes space for new. They're saying reflect on that or make the action or take the actions where needed. But you'll also find how some relationships or friendships are morphing and changing and becoming deeper or becoming more bonded, right? These manifestations of new people you're meeting that become your soul family. There's a big thing coming into play with that because, again, like I mentioned, in 2024, we're going to see even more of that happening in the greater collective. So it's kind of paving the way for that. So they're saying really consider thanking your lucky stars, as they said it. Again, these star alignments and the momentum. The more that you count your blessings, the more that will come. So again, having an energy of gratitude is really significant for the energy this month, right? Your gratitude brings in more energy, and it doesn't have to be false positivity. If something is not going well and you're frustrated, be frustrated. Be honest with yourself, express it, but then also carry on, move through the emotion, come out the other side, and then recognize, what did you learn? Oftentimes there can be a piece of gratitude in there, something, right? Maybe you didn't realize you had the capacity to speak up the way you did, and now you're like, wow, look at that. Look what I created for myself, a boundary, right? Or a new beginning, or whatever it may be. Something to consider. Now, the other thing that's happening this month is more energetic upgrades. So in January, we had significant solar flares that really had a play on us. I mean, there was one point where there was kind of 3 within a span of 5 days, and they were all X-class solar flares. Now, that's the most intense class of solar flares is the X ones, and within that, they have these kind of like 1.2, 1.3 scale, and a lot of them were like, one of them was 1.2, and then I think the others were up near 1.6 and 1.9. That's a big intensity of energy coming and hitting our planet. Now that hits the planet's atmosphere and magnetosphere, but it also hits our aura, because if you consider the magnetosphere around the planet, you know, when you can see the magnetism go into each pole and come out the other side, we have the same sort of energy electromagnetic field around our own body. That's the aura, right? So the energy from the sun and the solar flare also hits our aura and has an impact, right? So these solar flares had an impact on a lot of things, a lot of grids around the world. It also has an impact on us. And so to have several in a row like that is like being tossed in the dryer and being tumbled around, right? It's intense. So lack of sleep, increased hunger, increased anxiety, heart palpitations, overwhelm, moodiness is another one. Like there's a lot of things that happen, but this also helps us in our ascension, helps us in our awakening, in our integrating these energetic upgrades. So because of that, many of you may be feeling this kind of increase of a buzz energy within. Sometimes you can feel it in different organs, sometimes just in the sensation of muscle spasms, but and I'm not talking the painful ones, I'm just talking about the little kind of fluttery ones. This buzzing feeling is connecting as well to energetic upgrades. Now, as always, I have to say, if you do have any symptoms of something that is unnerving, it is always worthwhile getting it checked out from your doctor. There's a benefit. one of the cool things is when your doctor says everything is fine, but you're still feeling the feeling, you can 100% embrace it as an energetic thing. So that's kind of cool. But if you're concerned, balancing spiritual wellness and understanding with medical wellness and understanding, healing and all of that is really worthwhile. So I do want to say that, okay? If anything is concerning, heart palpitations, and you're concerned, go get it checked out. But solar flares can also have an effect on your heart too, okay? So with this light, what I'm getting, so the solar flares were part of it, but this month, what we're having is an increase in guiding light and an increase or an ignition of our inner guidance. So our inner light, so outer light and inner light, which is essentially what Spirit was talking about in the January energy update for 2023. But we're going to see more of this. We're going to see kind of manifestations. So for a lot of you, you're going to find that this month, again, with this pressure being taken off in February, you are kind of stepping out of the darkness that you felt you were in and into the light, and finding a way that you're kind of letting the light shine through you to lead the way. Now it's shining through you as inner guidance, so it's time to pay attention to the guidance of your soul, right? What you feel as a soul, but also your guidance from Spirit. So what I'm getting at with this is, with the external light and the internal light shining brighter with momentum energy, it really means you are running side by side in partnership with Spirit, and we're really kicking it off. So this is where we really get to start running this year in the energy. It's like January, we were kind of getting to the start line. We were making sure our shoes were tied. We were making sure we had all the stuff. We'd taken our supplements, our Gatorade, whatever it would be for the race, have it all ready. We kind of start running, but now we get to really find our pace. And that's an exciting thing. And the reason why I say that is because it's exciting because it is coupled with the energies of clarity, momentum, and love energy. That's so cool. Clarity, momentum, and love energy. That means we're sitting in an energy of compassion, but with action. These are great things. So really it's about taking advantage of it. Now I do want to say one last thing they mentioned to me actually just before I started to record today. They were like, one more thing. Time this year in 2023 is going to be moving faster. Now I don't know if this is something we will be able to measure on clocks somehow. I don't know if we'll get to the end of the year and somehow on one clock we've moved faster than another clock, like on the main clocks in the world. I'm not sure, but what I understand from them is our experience of time is faster, meaning like we're moving through time and space faster. So if there was a way to measure that, I would be really curious to see how that pans out at the end of the year. Now what this means is that weeks will start to go by faster. Days will go by faster. Your perspective or perception of the time will go by faster. So if any of you joined me in Cosmic Consciousness in the fall, I think it was November, we talked about time expansion. Understanding how you can expand a moment of time with consciousness is really worth it. So if you haven't, if you didn't get to see that in Cosmic Consciousness and something about this topic has your interest piqued, if you reach out to us at avalonspirit.com, you can purchase that specific episode on time expansion, because you might find it really revolutionary in how you experience this year. Essentially, it's about how you can expand, say, a time frame of 5 minutes in linear time, expand it into a time frame of 25 minutes to get more done or to be more present, so on and so forth. Because time is going to move by really fast. So we will find that once we get to the end of the year, we're going to realize we got there so quick. So what that means for us, though, is to be very present, is to be very willing to connect with Spirit when we are being asked to review something again. Remember, what do you want? What do you want is what Spirit said. What do you want? We're going to ask you several times. When they do that, take it as an opportunity of like, okay, let's do a quick review. Yeah, I want to go this way, or no, I want to, reorganize this or that. Because things are happening so fast, changes are going to happen fast, and we need to be able to keep up with it. So for us not to experience total overwhelm with this fast-paced energy, we'll be asked several times of what it is we want. So something to keep in mind. I do get a sense from them that we will be reminded of this several times throughout the year. So something to just kind of chew on. Time is going to go faster. And hold on, they're just telling me something. One sec here. Okay, and they're saying one thing to remember is that time is going to move faster. And although that can be overwhelming, it's also giving us the opportunity to move through our healing faster. So what's neat is if we see a cycle of healing and you heal that one layer and you think, okay, I'm good, and then another layer comes up, we may find many layers come up rapidly, but what it's doing is it's allowing us to heal the layers way faster and get to the root of it way faster so that we can move forward and embrace it. So it's kind of like helping us ascend and grow way faster. So not only is time just moving faster, but it's going to speed up our ascension within this year as well with what we transmute and move through. So that's really cool. I'm glad they shared that little piece. That's neat. So I will leave that with you guys for today. There is your February energy update. I hope you really embrace these energies, help, do your best to have them help you move forward, manifest the things you want, the creations you want. And I will leave that with you guys for now. So have a beautiful rest of your day, everyone. And I will see you next week.